Gamers! Rainbow Road. It's the road where you go, or so I've heard. But the question is, which road would you rather go the most? That's the question we're going to solve today, as I am going to do an inspection on all 14, yes, there's 14, I'm not counting Tor and Arcade GP, you nerds, of the Rainbow Roads today. Don't you love it when you played Rainbow Road and they said it's Rainbow Roading time and they roaded all over the place? That's my favorite part. But do you know what wasn't my favorite part? Talking about the F tier, which I've lovingly titled, This is a Hate Crime. When it comes to June, if you see any company decide to use this Rainbow Road as their avatar for the month, I think you should consider taking your business elsewhere. What do you think is going to be in my F tier? Prediction time is now closed. Well, I was going to say you get an award for guessing, but I don't think you're going to get an award for guessing. If you guessed Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road, congratulations, you get absolutely nothing. You get absolutely nothing whatsoever. But the most annoying part about this Rainbow Road was, I've told you guys many a time, back in the day, back in the dinosaur era of the late 2000s internet, that's back when the Mario Kart 64 Andes took over the internet. They were just everywhere gamers. They were everywhere. They were obnoxious. They were insistent that this was the best game in the series. So, come when the NSO decided to release their N64 games, and I finally gave this game a try for myself. I'm like, oh, I've heard this one is peak. Let's give it a try. And lo and behold, the absolute swan song of what was already a mid-game as is was this. Was just guardrails, the occasional chomp, and the N64 Andy's crying and saying, it's Goku, I don't care. If I'm bored the whole time, I'm bored. While I'll give it maybe one singular plaudit for vibes, the Nintendo Land lingo, I love vibes. When you're going up against 13 other tracks that are absolute vibes maxing, you don't get any points from me. OG Rainbow Road might just be the worst Mario Kart track ever made, and I'm saying that with my chest. It is a close competition between that and N64 Warrior Stadium, which, remember, JonTron said was like his third best Mario Kart track of all time. That's the level we're dealing with when it came to the N64 glazing, by the way. I would give it points for the music, but when you're going up against of fantastic music, it is with a great joy, actually, that I put N64 Rainbow Road, the OG, in the bottom of my Rainbow Road rankings. There is one more F tier, gamers. Prediction time now. Prediction time is now closed. You guys are awfully good at guessing today. It's almost as if you've watched way too much of me, but please watch more nonetheless. Because if you guessed the GBA version of SNES Rainbow Road, once again, I will give you... Stage has been done like 3 other times. Like, it's everywhere. Run from it. Dread it. SNES Rainbow Road is everywhere. When there's already 4 versions of you, and this is the version that removed stuff, I don't think I have to explain too much. I praise my ability to explain with reasoning, with a bit of logic, with a bit of facts, with a little bit of nostalgia as well. But I don't think I need to really explain anything. It's SNES Rainbow Road, which is already not the best Rainbow Road, but you just removed easily the most compelling aspect of it in the thwomps. That's all you did, and you called it a day. Now, I'm a bit sympathetic because they were simply running out of time, and they just put them in as a bit of a cheeky bonus.
Yeah, of course.
Of course, I have a little bit of nostalgia for it, which is why you're not ranking the worst. You're just the second worst. That's my nostalgia bonus to you. What do you think, guys? It's almost as if the extra cups were bad. As a kid, I loved them because it was bonus content, but yeah, as an adult, I'm just like... This game should have ran out 20 tracks ago, definitely. There's like maybe 2 tracks in the extra selection where I'm like, oh, I actually really like this. I think it was like, what, SNES, BC2, BC3, Donut Plains 3 for the fat shortcut, but like, yeah. I would be remiss, gamers, if I didn't mention, now is your chance. I'm gonna give you one last, final warning, okay? Even as a kid, this is what's sad, but even as a kid, actually, you know what? I'm gonna make a retcon in the Sir Mercy tier list. At least N64 doesn't make my hits bleed, so we will leave it there. And I apologize. You're paying for the ear doctor. Yeah, send it to my guy. I'll do it. Don't worry. Go on to the D tier of damn. You live like this. Take your guesses. Place your bets. Prediction time is now open. Prediction time is closed. If you guys are okay, you guys are too good at guessing. Should I just close prediction time? It's like my favorite part of the stream, and you guys are ruining it. If you guys guessed DS Rainbow Road, then you are in fact on the money, and you get no prize. I'm not giving out any more prizes anymore. Too many of you guys are winning. It's like if 100 people won the lottery. Like, yeah, you won the lottery, but you're only gonna get like, you know, like £10,000 now. What's the point? If you guys all keep winning the lottery, it's not special if the lottery is run. I think I've spoken quite a bit about what I don't like about DS Rainbow Road in my DS video quite a long time ago. Maybe if I played it again, I'd be able to have like a change of heart. But I think the problem with this Rainbow Road is not necessarily that it's bad, but it just doesn't have anything to stand out. The loop-de-loops are supposed to be a really cool set piece, and maybe at the time it kind of was, but playing this in like an anti-grav society of the modern day, it just doesn't hold up as well. And I think because of like the DS limitations, even like the vibes or the spectacle isn't as high as it could be in another kind of Rainbow Road, should we say. I think a remake does have potential to be amazing, especially with this loop-de-loop section. I do like the fact that if you get hit on there, you do like go flying and it knocks you away, but it doesn't have the same spin-a-magic factor as say the Bowser Castle in this game does. So I can't really give it too many points for that. Maybe you guys have had more interactions where when you're spinning on the loop-de-loops, it's actually quite a dangerous set piece because you get hit. But in my hundreds of hours of playing it as a kid, and a couple of times I played it now, it wasn't really something that made much of a factor. I would rather this stage gets a remake over GBA Rainbow Road, because I think this one has a higher potential ceiling. But in this game, it does nothing but hit the floor. So what do you guys have to add to this? Love of the DS stands. Your game isn't as good as you thought it was. It's beautiful. I love it. The corkscrew is just pulled from GC and RR. Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. Like, isn't it just...
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Millions of families suffer every year.
We're gonna put you there because damn, you do not deserve to live like this, brother. You are made for the finer things in life. You are a Rainbow Road. You should act like it. That's what you should do. After we're done going to the D tier for the DS stands, we go on to the C tier of C. Why couldn't you be better? You could have been worse, absolutely. But you could have been better. So gamers, my favorite time of the stream that you guys are ruining because you gave my predictions to, right? Prediction time. Prediction time is now closed. Let's see what you guys came up with. You guys are not making this fun for me. Not me checking my notes to see if I can quickly change one so that you guys didn't get it right. I don't think I can cheekily shuffle one away now. If you guys guessed Double Dash Rainbow Road, Musty, no, you can't do this to me, Musty, no. Oh, it's what I live for. Yes. I thought you guys were going to agree with me. Love going against the Queen. I'm unique. I want to be in the video. So I will cede some ground. I do think that I was a bit harsh in my GameCube ranking over, what is it, like nearly 2 years ago? While on a racetrack front, this one still isn't as compelling as I would like. I do think this one probably has maybe the second or third best vibes, maybe even top one vibes of a Rainbow Road. The music, the spectacle. I think the bold color scheme of the GameCube as well, like the more cartoony popping out color scheme, really works well. The fact that it is Mushroom City down underneath, this pipe which has like a holographic Mario sign, the Starry Night, you can very clearly see a Starry Night as well. I love the vibes that this Rainbow Road goes for. But while it has won me on a vibes front, I still don't think as a racetrack it's that compelling to race on. Show me the part where I'm having fun, games. Let's watch it together, shall we? Oh, he veered left, then he veered, and then he went left again, and then don't tell me he's gonna go right, and he's gonna go left. Crazy gameplay. You see, it's nice that there's shooting stars on this port, but where's the meat on the bone, guys? It's all skinny. Sir Mix-a-Lot said it in the 90s. That baby's gotta got back. Just a bit too light on the bone. And again, what, another reverse corkscrew? You already did this bit earlier. So what, we're gonna go down instead of up? Come on. The Sparrow's kind of difficult from what I can remember. I think it's, oddly enough, if you don't drift, you can do it perfectly, which is a bit antithetical to how Mario Kart is supposed to be. Surely drifting is supposed to give you better control, but drifting on the corkscrew actually makes it worse. It's very strange. These super tight touchy controls adds more to the enjoyment of this. I think the controls do add a bit more to it because, like, even though you're only turning very slightly left and right, I think with the touchy controls, I think it does make it a little more compelling. I just wish that it had a bit more set pieces. It just doesn't have enough set pieces for me. It has charm up the arse, which is what Double Dash is perfect at doing. It's better than DS because at least DS doesn't really have the vibes that I would like. So at least this one has that, but in terms of racing on it, I'm just not really having too much fun. But this course feels super special when playing All Cup 2 after playing 15 other tracks. You're given an amazing spectacle, of course. I love it. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. As a swan song to Mario Kart Double Dash, it is perfect. Maybe I have been a little bit harsh. I am going to stick to my guns, though. I am going to stick to my guns and leave it here. While it is perfect as a swan song, the vibes are immaculate. The music is fantastic. But then again, all the Rainbow music are fantastic. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that there and call it a day. Have a look at what the next... Prediction time. Oh, I'm having fun. I'm having so much fun. I love being different. I love trying to get in the video. Prediction time is closed, gamers. If you guessed the OG SNES Rainbow Road, give yourself a round of applause. Over GCN, mister. You're just trying to get into the video. Well, this one isn't anything crazy by Rainbow Road standards. I think as a swan song to Super Mario Kart, from a racetrack standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, I think this is easily one of the best tracks they've ever designed. And I think it comes down to the thing I always glaze Super Mario Kart over, and I'll do it once more. I'll do it until the cows come home, the moo-moos come home. It's the thwomps. Oh yeah! As with every instance where they use thwomps in this game, they show you where they're gonna be first before they're active in the next lap. Oh god, this guy can drive. Are you seeing this shit? She can drive over a storm. I think the thwomps serve as a perfectly escalating hazard. In this one, they're like in the middle of the track, so you have enough time to weave around the outsides. There's a generous enough space. Another one cheeky thing they do in this game, it's quite cheeky, but by Super Mario Kart standards, I think it's okay. But there's actually a couple of bumps. You can see one right where my mouse is. There's a bump on the road there. Because the road is so rainbow, you might not notice there's a bump. You might turn a bit early, assuming the road is straight. But there's a couple of bumps skewing about these turns. So even though there's nothing really going on here, if you're not careful with the turns and try and take your turn a bit too early or too late, the bumps might jump you up and maybe ruin your handling so you'd fall off the stage. This track wants you to do one thing, and that's fall off. And you have to do everything in your power to avoid that, and I think it does an excellent job of that. And then once again, you get to the escalating thwomps. You can slalom around them, but the road is getting a lot more narrow. And then it all culminates with the final turn. It's the same as the beginning where all the thwomps are in the middle, but since the road is a bit more narrow here, you have much less of breathing room to be able to turn around them. If maybe you get lucky, you can go underneath them. But I think this one does, on a gameplay front, this one is absolutely fantastic. It doesn't get the exact same spectacle or from the music or the backgrounds, simply because it's a Super Mario Kart track that I would like in a Rainbow Road, so it's going to rank lowly because of that. But I think in terms of, we're doing just purely on gameplay, this might be the best one. Top 3, I'm not confident saying is the best one for sure, but I would definitely put in the top 3 in terms of just purely gameplay. So I'm going to leave this right here. And of course, I think it also doesn't help that there's 2 other versions of the track that also do what it's trying to do in a bit more of a better package, but we're gonna talk about those later. What do you guys think? One of my favorite music tracks in the franchise. I think it's music-wise definitely one of the standout ones in Super Mario Kart. I think when it comes to when you're going up against these lot though, yeah, it's tough competition, which is why I'm not giving too much points for it. Yeah, I think it's certainly a Rainbow Road. I think if you guys are hating on, I think you guys are mean. I'm standing up for Super Mario Kart in court today. Okay? Call me Saul Goodman, Super Goodman actually.
Here we go.
We're done with the C tier gamers, so we're going to the B tier.
You like Jack?
We're getting really wordy with our titles today, gamers, and I've got a couple of contenders in here. Actually, I've got 3 contenders in this tier, gamers. So, what do you think just about squeaks in? Prediction time is closed. Gamers, I hope you're not bored of SNES Mario Kart, because just about edging out into the B tier is SNES Rainbow Road, the MK7 version. Oh, a lot of you guys said 8. Guys, you're not gonna like where I put Mario Kart 8's one, that's for sure. They're definitely not trying to make you sweat when you're playing Mario Kart in the modern day. In Super Mario Kart, maybe even on 64, this was like a gamer's kind of game series. But by the modern standards, they know that they're trying to appeal to casuals, so they're always going to make anything that was always a bit too hard a bit simpler in this game. They've made it a bit more easier in parts compared to the original, but I think what they have kept is really, really good, and I think it serves a perfect retro ender to Mario Kart 7. I think while the thwomps don't do the thing I like of showing you where they're going to be and then being a ball crunching that later, I still do think with the ripples that they add, which Man, I really hope there's a version that adds a bit more ripples. Kind of entices you to dodge them, but also staying close so you can get a ripple. The ramps as well being a lot more visible to be a lot more fairer in a modern day gaming context. And this stomp as well here still being a bit of a threat down the middle. You have to kind of take a thinner racing line, which makes you a bit more vulnerable to items, which in the case of like a more online oriented game, which Mario Kart 7 is, not anymore obviously, rip Nintendo Online. And I think that sort of interaction is something that I saw a lot of when I played this game on the 3DS, and it's something I saw a lot of in its 8 cousin, which we'll talk about later. I think I like the vibes of this maybe a little bit more. The music for this, I like this one a bit more. So it's got just that little extra thing going. And I'm like, you know what? I'll give you a little bit more props. I think you can just about creep, right foot creep actually, into the B tier. Again, takes some elements away, but adds in enough with a bit more of a modern twist to it where I think it deserves a spot in the B tier. What do you guys think? And the thoughts being stationary in the first lap works far better than the original anyway due to the lap cam. Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. I do think it is an element of Super Mario Kart that I do find just enjoyable. I know it might not work in a modern context, but it's one of those things that give it a bit more charm. Does that make sense? So I get why they changed, obviously, now. I think it works better in this game, definitely. I've got 2 more entrants in the B tier gamers. So let's get on to my favorite part of the stream, prediction time. Let's see what you guys came up with. If you guys guessed 8 Rainbow Roads, finally, oh, the hate, way too low. Oh, can't believe Double Dash lost to this. I want to know what your thoughts were initially when this one came out, because I think it was fair to say I was one of the Scrimble Bimbo Andys who thought that this was a disgrace upon Rainbow Roads when this first came out. And as the years have since gone by, I have grown a soft spot for this one. I more appreciate it for what it is instead of what it isn't. And now that this game has 5 Rainbow Roads, I think one of them going for something aesthetically quite different, quite unique, is something that's grown on me a bit more in the modern day than it did back in 2014? Good lord, I have to stop referencing Mario Kart 8's original release date. I do think that the space station aesthetic is something that I'm happy they tried. I'm also happy for them never to do it again. And I do think the stage is at its strongest when it leans more into the rainbow, both in terms of a music and a gameplay perspective. But I do think that the space station thing isn't the worst thing on planet Earth. But it has one of the coolest shortcuts. You know that bit when you take the right-hand path at the jump, and then you can jump over to the other path? It's one of those shortcuts that gives you a bit of a GBA energy. It's a shortcut that you don't think is supposed to be there, but it just kind of is. And I think that's a very, very charming. Very, very charming. And while I won't mention 200cc too much, because I think it's unfair to the other tracks, I think on 200 this is also decently fun too as well. So I think it's a fair spot to put it in the middle of B, I would say. I think why people overhate this RR is because we came out with 2 games that had goated Rainbow Roads. Yeah, I think, yeah, that's what it is as well. I think this one was always going to be a step down. I think this was like the X and Y of Rainbow Roads, because we had 2 amazing games before it, 2 amazing generations of Pokemon before it, that the next one that came along was always going to suck in comparison. This is where I make enemies, gamers. Look at all the Rainbow Roads that are left, gamers, and I'm gonna look you in the eye and tell you there's one more in the B tier. So, prediction time. GBA or ADX SNES, it's Wii RR, it's SNES, N64 remake. Knowing Musty, he'll put 7 like a Dumby. Gamers, if you guessed Mario Kart 7 Rainbow Road, the BCP version, you are right. On the money, although none of you guessed that. Let it be known, gamers. Lay it on me. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Yep, that's me. Now you're probably wondering, surely most of you were just trying to get in the video, right? While I certainly enjoyed the funny reactions I got from the chat, I don't think my live counterpart of the past ended up explaining exactly why I'm putting the 8th version of one of the best tracks in the series merely in a high B tier slot. I think you can boil it down to 2 different things. One related to how I personally like to rank things, and one related to the nature of the track itself. Let's start with point number 2. I think that's easier. Now, when it comes to, say, SNES Rainbow Road, for example, it was very easy for me to differentiate between the original counterparts and the modern counterparts. They're both made in different eras of Mario Kart, so it's very clear to see what kind of game design the old one had and to compare it to its modern day incarnation. When you look at what Mario Kart was when Super Mario Kart came out versus what Mario Kart is now, it's very easy to see the gameplay philosophies in action, and comparing and contrasting is actually quite fun. Mario Kart 7 to 8, there really hasn't been a lot of differences in how the tracks are designed on a conceptual level. On a gameplay front, there really hasn't been much of a difference between the series in 7 and the series now, so I can't really compare it much on a series perspective, and I can't really compare it much on a gameplay perspective neither, because both of them play out pretty similarly. And if we're comparing it in terms of everything else the track does, the vibes, aesthetics, and the music, I think while I do enjoy how the rainbow looks in 8, it's not too blue for my liking. I do think the original one kind of trumps it in terms of the visuals. And even if we think about it in terms of the music, I absolutely love what the 8 Deluxe rendition went for. Went for something a little more different, a little more techno, a little more upbeat, and there are definitely aspects of it I enjoy, especially the delayed drum hits. I absolutely love that part. But I don't think it trumps the original neither. I think the original really captures that space adventure feeling that the original was trying to go for. For me, if there's two of a thing that's pretty similar, but there's one that I'd rather play, I think it makes the original seem worse in comparison. For all else equal, I can choose which Rainbow Road I want to play. I'm always going to play the 3DS version. It's a bit harder to because there's no versus mode in 7, which is really annoying, but I'm always going to choose to play the 7 version. It's just the better version, which makes the 8 version just feel worse in comparison. Whenever I do a ranking live, I usually like looking at the chat's tier lists after, and the general consensus was that the 7 version is better than the 8 version. But generally speaking, most people would still put them on the same plane as each other. So say, for example, someone put them in like high S tier, they'd put them both in high S tier, but the 7 version would rank slightly higher. Or if they put them in high A tier, they put the 7 version slightly higher than the 8 version. But how I personally place things, if there is a version that's just, if all else equal, is just better, I think it makes it, instead of just being a slight step down, I think it makes it markedly worse. And I think that's where I stand with the 8 version of 7's Rainbow Road. A fantastic addition to Mario Kart's booster course pass, but when compared to its contemporaries, ends up falling a little short. All the reasons why the new version isn't higher than B comes down to 7 basically being the perfect Rainbow Road. Wherever you're changing actively makes the course worse. I think that's a very good way of summing up. Now that we're done with the B tier, we're going on to the A tier of A. Now this is glorious. This is a Rainbow Road. This is the road where I would go and I would happily die. I've got 3 over here. So gamers, what just about makes it into the A tier? AMK N64R, 8 SNES. It seems to be a tie between those two. Way too high. Way too high. Yes. Hey. No. Hey. All right. Finally, a good take. Ty's doing the thing, chat. Do you know the thing I make fun of where people are like, "Oh, it's a take I disagree with, therefore it's a bad one. It's a take I agree with, so therefore it's a good one." Ty's been doing that all stream. I just score so much higher than GC and Rainbow on both a top tier spectacle, but not engaging gameplay. I'm glad you asked. I've got some very compelling arguments for you guys. Bowser firework, Yoshi firework. I don't know. Am I winning you over now? Big star in the middle, Luigi firework, train. Can I get a train, please, for any of the train Andes in the chat? Can we get some coins, please? I would like some coins, please, Mr. Toad. Could you throw some coins on the path for me? Thank you so much. If you're asking me why does this one rank so much higher despite it doing the spectacle thing, not so much compelling gameplay, it's that this one does it to such a insanely higher degree than the GameCube one does, that it solely for that earned its spot in the A tier. Gameplay wise, this one isn't as compelling, way more compelling than the original. I just have a smile on my face every single time I play this track, and even though it's 10 years later, you'd think that effect would wear off over time. But even 10 years later, I play this track and I cannot help but have a smile on my face. It sounds fantastic. It looks phenomenal. The sea down below, the fireworks with all the characters, the brass on the music just compelling you to keep going, the iconic Rainbow Road theme. They even got the chain jumps in there. This is how you do majesty in a Rainbow Road. And I think every Rainbow Road should take notes. There's a smile on my face while I'm talking about this right now. I love this Rainbow Road. I'm just watching Gamer JGB player right now. Please rise, gamers, for the national anthem of Peak. Let me hear it, please. Oh my lord. But it's when the electric guitar does like the Rainbow Road leitmotif bit. It's when that guitar kicks in, you're just like... Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. And then the piano, and it goes to the next bit. The pause in the brass before it hits the final set of notes. Hang on. Right there, right On a pure vibes perspective, I would say the GameCube one does a really good job, but this one does such a phenomenal job. It makes the GameCube look like child's play, and as a result, it's going to comfortably sit in the A tier. If you're going to max out on pure vibes as a swan song to the original Mario Kart 8, this is what you do. This is what you do. It is fantastic in that regard. Not so much on a gameplay front, obviously. I was going to mention that as well, the whole it should have been more than one lap. For the Rainbow Road swan song to the original Mario Kart 8, you want it to be spectacular. You want it to like really leave you wanting more, really leave you feeling like you just played one of the best racing games you will ever play. And I think Mario Kart 8 did that fantastically with this Rainbow Road. I have two more that's going to go in the A tier. Would you like to guess as to what they're going to be? Okay, I'm canceling prediction time. You guys are ruining this for me. This is not fun anymore. If you guessed 8 Deluxe, SNES Rainbow Road, or whatever, you won the lottery, you get 17p. Well done, well done. You're supposed to get it wrong so that I can go, it's this one. You're like, what? I talked about what I liked about the OG one in terms of how fantastic it is on a gameplay front. And I talked about how 7 modernized it. It did remove a couple of things, but I think it modernized it in a wonderful new package for modern gamers. Baby gamers, where I think it added a lot more than it removed. I think this one is just the same as the 7 one, just kind of on steroids. The background looks, again, you're like, what was it? You're on top of donut plains on this one? The donut plains, like mountains, just like vibing in the background. It looks so good, doesn't it? Like the ripples that the thwomps give you are so much more. Like it feels like it's gonna fall apart, honestly. Factors that they kept from the 7 one, where the racing lines become a lot more thinner, especially towards the end of the track. I think they made this one a bit wider to compensate for the fact there's 12 players now, which is fair enough, but if you fall asleep when you're forced to like take a smaller route, a route that makes you a bit more predictable, you end up getting punished. I know it's happened to me a bunch. I know I've punished other players a bunch, and I think this does everything that the 7 one did. Turns up to a moderately higher degree. And I think that's why it comfortably sits in the A tier. Let's do one more Rainbow Road in the A tier, gamers. Let's go to prediction time. Gamers, prediction time is now closed. If you guessed the Wii Rainbow Road, the BCP version, now it's time for you guys to take a bow. Now, I want to be quite quick with this one. I'm not going to elaborate too hard because I want to talk about what the OG does a bit better in comparison to this once we talk about that. While it's fantastic and while it's in high A, I think having another track with the same name always makes this one have a bit of a step down. The only reason this is in high A and not S is because there's another version of this track that does it better. That's literally all it is. So I'm just going to keep it quick, keep it like that. I think this version is still fantastic. The Rainbow Road is definitely leaning on the pink side. So I'm just going to leave this here and just move on the quick gamers. And then we get into, gamers, the final 3. The final 3 gamers. So we have 3 contenders for the greatest Rainbow Road that ever lived. What makes the bronze medal? Enter your predictions now. Prediction time is now closed. If you guys guessed, listen, nostalgia can only carry you so far, okay? Jesus Christ, I forgot how good the world record is for this. This is can I have some regular footage real quick? Let me have some regular footage, because that's a test. This is the highest quality footage we're ever gonna get. Does he do the funny shortcuts? Oh, look at that, 20 frames per second. This is what we had to deal with, gamers. This is what we had to deal with. Oh, he does the shortcuts. Can I just get... Where's Gamer JGB? There we go. Finally. Can we... A round of applause goes from Gamer JGB. Can we? Can we? You're probably thinking, why is this so high? Why is this like this? There's a good chunk of it is just nostalgia, I'm going to be honest. If you're here for some scathing analysis, I'm going to give you a bit of a lore dump, okay? So... I have a lot of nostalgia for Super Circuit as a whole. My Game Boy Advance SP was one that I got as a kid. My mum took me to a HMV shop, which is actually a music shop that also did tech. I was going to buy the original Game Boy Advance because it would have been cheaper, but the SP was the only one available. I thought my mum wouldn't buy it because it was £40 more expensive. It was £90 in 2002, so you can do the inflation on that to figure out how much my mum spent in today's money. My mum, noticing how sad I was, bought me the Game Boy Advance, and she bought me 2 games with it. She bought me a copy of Mario Luigi Superstar Saga and a copy of Mario Kart Super Circuit. And I played this game endlessly. Endlessly. And I think one of my most nostalgic experiences with this game is me and my younger brother Ozzy constantly going back and forth to get a world record, not world record, but the best time on time trials, GBA Rainbow Road. He would hand me the Game Boy Advance so smugly, and I would check the time, and I would see Toad like 1 minute 32, and then I would play as Luigi and then give it back to him, be like, yeah, look at the time now. And then we just constantly go backwards and forwards, trying to take the best time. If you're curious as to what's happening now. Aussie has the best 3-lap. I have the best single lap. And I think we just kind of gave it a truce there. Each of us have one record to our name, and we kind of left it at that. But Super Circuit, again, that has a lot of nostalgia to me. It's my Scrimbler Blimber of Mario Kart games, and I think I was always going to put this GBA Rainbow Road quite high. But it does have some elements that I really, really like. Firstly,
I clapped when I saw it.
I know what that is!
N64 one had guardrails that just straight up stop you from falling over, which I thought was really lame. I think all of us think that's really lame. But this one has like bounce rails instead, which it gives you enough time to, if you touch the edge, you can still kind of bounce your way back onto the stage, which I think is a generous way. Even though it's the final stage of the game, so you want it to be as hard as possible, I think it still offers that little bit of generosity for people who still haven't mastered the controls yet. And good Lord knows that 10-year-old me was very thankful for that. It does the Super Circuit thing of having hazards that are kind of out of the way to kind of make sure that your racing lines are good. GBA Bowser Castle, both of the Bowser Castle tracks, BC3 and BC4, were very, very good at that. And I think Rainbow Road also continues this trend. Throughout the stage, these clouds here, and while they shoot lightning, which does exactly what a traditional Thunderbolt would do, and make you small and dish a bunch of your coins. Now, this is out of the way, and I think all of the thunderclouds in this stage are really out of the way. But once again, along with GBA BC4 and BC3 and a couple of other tracks, it's more so a skill check to see how good your racing lines are. And I think the same thing can be said for the next hazard as well. There are these shooting stars that go onto the map, and as you can see, a lot of them are going to the right of the platform and to the left of the platform. If you stay in the middle, you will avoid this hazard entirely. But staying in the middle with these controls and how harsh and slippery they are, a lot more easier said than done. This is something that a lot of you guys are going to have trouble with if you play this game. Not so much me, obviously, and a humble brag. With the bounce rails giving you a jump, you can use that to make some rather chicanerous shortcuts.
Can we get much higher?
Get the fuck out of here, little nigga.
So I just love the bounce rails giving you so much more opportunities for really cool shortcuts, and that's something that Super Circuit as a whole does so fantastically. The shortcuts in that game are something of absolute majesty, and it's something that's never been replicated in any game in the series, and I think it just adds to the charm of this Rainbow Road to me in particular. And I think this has everything that I love in a Rainbow Road, coupled with a bunch of nostalgia, a bunch of fun shortcuts. It was always going to be one of the good ones if you ask me. I'm going to leave this at the bottom of S tier. Nostalgia couldn't carry it to number 1, but it could carry it to number 3, and that's exactly where I'm going to leave it. So what do you guys think? I'm curious to see what you guys think, because you guys obviously have no nostalgia and no hypes for this at all. So I'm curious to see what you guys think, so let me know. Yeah, I just like the oingy boingy. Absolutely too. You can complete this in 30 seconds of playing an actually good game. Oh, get out of here, nerds! Get out of here! Then we get on to the gruesome twosome, the dynamic duo. For the final time today, gamers, prediction time. The eternal debate between 3DS RR and VRR, the one that's getting second place this evening. If you guessed Mario Kart 7 Rainbow Road, the OG, it's going to take my silver medal for this evening. When it comes to absolute spectacles of Rainbow Roads, this one has everything you could possibly want. The planetary adventure of this racetrack, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, cannot go understated. It is an absolute marvel at just making you feel like you're playing a swan song to a video game in the absolute finest way possible. Not only are you driving on the biggest rainbow road possible, but you're driving on around the asteroids of space. You go on the rings of insert planet here, I still don't remember. You've got a mushroom you bounce on that, good lord knows where it begins. And then, of course, the best set piece, I think, in any Rainbow Road, single-handedly. Gamers, you go on Eggman's piss-stained moon, and good lord knows it is bright, it is beautiful. The gravity here feels fantastic. The chomps look like they're having a fun time. If we're going section by section, this is the best section in any Rainbow Roads. Maybe even in any track, I don't know. And then you got this final section, which is just a pure, perfect... Is it a front-running section? Yeah, but it perfectly nails the ending to just the adventure you've got. You go through an asteroid field. How is that not charming? Come on. Well, and then you drive back down to space. You get lost in space, evidently. I think this one has not only just the most beautiful rainbow roads you could possibly look at, but the planetary adventure aspect as well was nothing short of genius. That just adds so much to the charm, and while it still isn't as compelling as the gold medalist on this list, I think it does enough on a gameplay perspective to be extremely compelling. And as a result, I am going to leave this and the second bronze medal. That's where I'm going to leave it. Here's an outmusty. Technically, other planets have rings, so it's only Saturn whose rings are the most visible. True. So I could say Earth's rings, and technically I'm right, right? Is that true? Is that true? Is that true? What's going to be my gold standard rainbow road? None of that. It's been the gold standard for more than 15 years. It is Rainbow Road. That takes the top spot. But what can I say about this Rainbow Road that hasn't been said a million, billion, zillion times? I'm going to repeat it nonetheless. As I said, I think the planetary aspect of the 7 Rainbow Road is absolutely fantastic, and it nails it on an aesthetic front. But I think this one just has, in combination with the background, the rather translucent looking rainbow you have here, and of course on top of that, I think if there's one aspect that really tops it, not only with it really harsh on a gameplay perspective to play, far be it from me to give you wee Andes any credit, but good luck. You can't hear this and not have a smile on your face. I'm just waiting for the one. You know the bit. You know the bit, guys. You know the bit. Everyone, turn your headphones up. Oh, inject me with the nostalgia, please. A good egg bit. It just gives me. I've got goosebumps, sir. I've got goosebumps. Oh, we're Rainbow Road. And then the second bit here. Oh Lord, it's the road. It's the road. It's the road where you go. It's the road where you go when you die. Give me the shooting star sound. The way it bounces between your ears, good fucking lord. Not only do you have on a visual and music front, easily the best combination of Rainbow Roads, but then on a gameplay front as well, this is one of the few ones where outside of SMK Rainbow Road, I would say, you know, this one could genuinely be an ass-kicking Rainbow Road. This one has a lot of sharp turns, no guardrails, very few guardrails, should I say. It does have a couple. It's got a lot of tough turns, and not to mention, Mario Kart Wii does one thing so good compared to every other Mario Kart game. The tricks, even though jumping on this trick rail might be slower if you're a gameplay Andy, I think just jumping on this and the pure air you get as Mario fucking spins and does a fucking 360 ollie, you're just like, brother, I'm here for it. I'm here for it till the end of time. But also just hitting that U-turn as well without hitting the trick is also extremely satisfying. I love it. I love it so much. Wii's trick system, as well as it just works so perfectly with this stage as well, which is why I didn't rank it as high as the 8 Deluxe version, because I think 8 Deluxe tricking wise just is not nearly as compelling as this game. And again, a couple of this bit here, I think if there was one section that took names and hearts, these 2 turns back to back, very harsh. Prosapia makes it look easy, but these 2 are the ones that really kicked my ass when I was a kid. But for your reward for doing that, probably one of the best cannon shots in the entire series. It looks majestic. And then you get this, I don't even know, how does this turn even work? This jump into another road? I don't know how gravity-wise it works, but this jump as well is just really satisfying to do. The air you get in this version compared to the 8 Deluxe, I think 8 Deluxe, when you trick, is too desperate to put you on the ground. Whereas with this one, you feel like you're in the air for a really good chunk of time. You feel it, you know? Especially with the sound, when the sound effect kicks in as well, right in the middle of it, just before you land. The tricking is also another aspect that goes understated in this Rainbow Road that we just nailed perfectly. A couple of fun turns at the end though, a couple of speed boosts to make sure you can stay on your toes before the lap ends there. Good Lord have mercy on my soul. The charm of burning up into the atmosphere, even 8 Deluxe BCP and all of its shambled together glory. Even they couldn't reject the charm of the burnout as you go back onto planet Earth. It's really funny. The wee Andes are going to have a field day with me today, but when it comes to Rainbow Roads, I cannot deny it. So there you have it, gamers. That is my all Rainbow Roads ranks. No bias in this one, absolutely none whatsoever. Do I have bad takes? Do I have good takes? Be sure to let me know in the comments below. And a big thank you to all the members, all loads of yous, because there's loads of you now. I gifted a bunch of them during some chicanerous live streams. You gotta be there. You really had to be there. It was quite an event. And if you want more content, come on now. You know what to do. And until next time,
There's your lot.